Chairman, proceed. Chairman, proceed.
Okay. Oh, hapa. Okay, asante. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to read the report on petition on the Thanga River. It's a spillage that happened some years back, and a petitioner raised a matter. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, on 16th August 2018, Mr. John Kimeu Mokai petitioned the Senate on the appropriate the mediation, restoration, and the reinstatement of the residents of the Gariga River Basin, their children, livestock, crops, and the environment following the underground oil spillage dated 12 May 2015 by Kenya Pipeline Company. Mr. Speaker, this matter was committed to the Standing Committee on Land and the Environment. However, the chairperson of the committee, filed a letter dated June 2019, requested your office to reconsider submitting it to the matter to the Standing Committee on Energy, and subsequently, the matter was committed to the Standing Committee on Energy on the 2nd July 2019. Mr. Speaker, the incident of oil spillage was investigated by Sectoral Committee on Water, Irrigation and the Environment of the County Assembly of Makueni, the Senate Standing Committee on Energy of the 11th Parliament, the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, the Water Resources Management, WAMA, SGS Kenya Laboratories, a multi-sectorial expert team led by NEMA, and the Panafcon Limited Development Consultant. In this regard, the committee noted that most of the prayers and recommendations were implemented by the Kenya Pipeline Company, and they recommended that the following outstanding issues be addressed. The county government of Makueni should step in and provide leadership and coordination with the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining, Kenya Pipeline, and the Thanga River Basin community on the ideal location for sinking of boreholes within 3 months. Money has been allocated and has been pending, and this matter should have been concluded and can only be concluded, in relation with the community through their leadership. The county government of Makueni should assist the residents of Thanga River Basin in seeking for compensation for the outstanding medical claims, loss of livelihood that are yet to be honored by the CIC insurance within a period of 6 months. Once again, the people are entitled to compensation by the insurance, and they should be guided and actually led and assisted by their local county government to ensure that the CIC settles the claim within 6 months, failure to which we recommend that legal action should be taken against the company. And the county government of Makueni and the Kenya Pipeline Company should work together to ensure that all the implemented recommendations are shared with the residents of Thanga River Basin immediately. And Mr. Speaker, that is the statement. But I must add that it is very, very important that the county government should come forward on this matter, and they actually take keen interest in ensuring that the residents get their dues and get their justice. And we have given the guided timelines which should be obeyed, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I head there and table the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare.
Yeah, we are. Haki ya Mungu mimi nataka uliambie watu. No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to give the report, beg to lay the following petition report on the table of the Senate today, 2nd December 2021. I have 3 reports to issue, and I'll just give brief summary. The first is a petition by Mr. Daniel Matendechere concerning unfair dismissal and lack of compensation by Broadway Bakery Limited. The petition concerning this unfair dismissal was presented to the Senate on the 16th of September 2021 by Senator Dr. Gertrude Musuruve, who is passing in front of me. The concerns raised in the petition were that Mr. Matendechere, while on duty on Thursday, 26th April, was involved in an accident that left him with a physical disability that affected his mobility and required him to use an artificial leg. On the 1st October 2019, his employer, Broadway Company Limited, deployed him from transport section to wrapping section, which involved a lot of standing, inflicting a lot of pain on the gentleman. On the 16th of November 2020, he received a notice of termination of employment and was later sacked 14 days on 30th November without compensation. And that upon his dismissal, he has tirelessly made an effort to seek justice, but his efforts have not borne any fruits. In considering this petition, the committee took into consideration the submissions and supporting documents by the petitioner and the reports from Broadway Bakery Limited. Mr. Speaker, sir, following our engagement as a committee with the petitioner and the managing director of Broadway's Limited, together with the insurance broker, regarding this and subsequent deliberations, the committee observed the following. 1, the company had acted within the law in facilitating the petitioner access his work injury benefits and regain his overall well-being. The petitioner had not complied with the Work Injury Benefits Act requirements. The petitioner had filed a case in Baricho Law Courts against Broadway Bakery Limited, case number 38 of 2021, Daniel Matendechere Aura versus Broadway Bakery Limited and James Dura, and this matter is still awaiting the court's determination. In this regard, of course, we noted the standing order number 98, but also various rulings by the Speaker on the same, and the precedent set on the 2nd of August 2018 by the Speaker of the Senate on the Solaidam matter. And the ruling implied that even if elements of active proceedings are active, prejudice have been met, the Speaker still has discretion to decide whether a matter should proceed or not, due to the following reasons: if a matter is of great public interest and if it's a matter about human rights. The present matter is a matter concerning human rights, and as such, should not be curtailed by an existing court case. So based on these observations, and I'm glad Senator Inima is listening, the committee therefore recommends that 1, in order to access his benefits, the petitioner complies with the law, Work Injury Benefits Act, as provided under section 16 and 23 as follows. 1, the petitioner has the discretion to withdraw his case at Baricho Law Courts. The petitioner will continue with the adjudication of this matter by the Director of Occupational Safety Health, and the company has expressed willingness to actually get that sorted. The petitioner must seek second medical opinion as advised by DOSH, which the petitioner had actually failed, and he admitted he had not gone to seek the second opinion. And then they should adjudicate this matter within 1 month of tabling of this report, once the petitioner has gotten the second opinion for his benefits to be processed. Upon his compliance with WIBA, the company shall within 1 month, and that is a maximum, within 1 month, initiate and conclude the process of paying the petitioner all of his work injury benefits as per the law. The company shall file progress reports to the committee monthly until the matter is completely brought to a conclusion upon the tabling of this report and the petitioner shall be at liberty to file his matter in court of law if he is thereafter dissatisfied with the determination by DOSH. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the report of the Standing Committee on the petition. The second petition Mr. Speaker, is regarding the plight of former workers, former employees of the Kenya United Steel Company. It was presented by Senator Mohamed Faki of Mombasa on the 7th of July, pursuant to Standing Order 230. It was referred to the Committee on Labour and Social Welfare in line with the standing orders. The committee held 5 sittings on this matter, and we engaged the following stakeholders: the petitioners, the former directors of Cusco Limited, PricewaterhouseCoopers, the receiving managers, and the Kenya Commercial Bank, which is the receiving bank. Mr. Speaker, the committee made the following observations. Cusco was registered on the 12th of July 1965 as a private company. There is evidence that Cusco obtained a loan from KCB Limited via the debenture dated 9th March 1998. Cusco was unable to pay the loan, and its land and other assets were sold to another company called SRM Limited in the year 2005. That Cusco was placed under receivership on the 18th of September 2003 as it was indebted to KCB, hence the appointment of the receiver managers, PricewaterhouseCoopers Limited. This dispute was initiated under the then Trade Disputes Act, Cap 234, the laws of Kenya, and therefore is not time-barred. Cusco 2006 Limited, which is different from Cusco Limited, SRM changed their name to Cusco 2006 Limited because of market share, is a bona fide purchaser for value without notice. The claim against the receiver manager, PwC, was dismissed, and the ruling was not challenged on appeal. Some employees who previously worked for Cusco were absorbed into the new company, Cusco 2006 Limited. Those employed worked under Cusco 2006 from around 2007 to 2017 when their contracts were terminated. Those employed by Cusco 2006 Limited did not raise issue of any obligations owed to them by Cusco 2006 Limited at the time they executed the contracts of employment in the year 2007. With the sanction of a special resolution, SRM changed its name to Kenya United Steel Company 2006 Limited. The adoption of a name similar to the collapsed business was to retain the market share enjoyed by the collapsed Cusco business. The former employees of Cusco sued Cusco 2006 Limited instead of Cusco. The applicable labor and company laws to this matter were reviewed in 2007 and 2015 respectively. The sale agreement of 1st December 2005 was challenged in court, and the challenge was rejected. The Ministry of Labour and Human Resources Development in 2009 was the arbitrator in the trade dispute between Cusco under receivership and the Kenya Engineering Workers Union, with issues under dispute pertaining to failure by PwC to pay 153 former employees of their 4 months' salary and gratuity benefits as per the collective bargaining agreements that had been entered into. The Ministry of Labour 2009 noted that the Kenya Engineering Workers Union failed to register the debts owed by Cusco together with the other debtors like KCB, who had by then proceeded to court. The Ministry of Labour had in 2014 recommended that the matter be put to rest. Upon the sale of Cusco, of the assets, Cusco was declared insolvent, and as such the credit due to KCB could not be 100% secured. Mr. Speaker, sir, while with the foregoing, taking into consideration the petitioner's press to the Senate, the committee is of the view that the former employees of Cusco have a constitutional right to petition the Senate to look into their plight, including issues dating back to 2003. In that regard, the committee recommends that this matter, Mr. Speaker, be put to rest for the following reasons. Number one, the matters canvassed in this petition have been extensively addressed by the various institutions. For instance, the Ministry of Labour dating back to 2009, the courts from 2012 to 2018, and all have had unfavorable outcomes. Number two, Cusco as an entity, upon undergoing receivership and subsequently following the sale of its assets, KCB as a major creditor failed to secure its loan. 3, recognizing the court's ruling that the claimant sued the wrong entity, Cusco 2006, instead of Cusco Limited, which is a different entity altogether. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, given the foregoing, there's nothing further that can be done on that matter. We beg to lay the report of the standing committee on the petition regarding the plight of the former employees of Cusco. Mr. Speaker, the final one is a petition from Kisii County concerning non-payment and failure to be confirmed by Kisii County government of Mr. Isaac Siko Nyakeriga. This petition was presented on the 7th of October 2021 by the Speaker of the Senate. The concerns raised are as follows: that the gentleman, Mr. Nyakeriga, was employed by the Kisii County government on the 19th of January 2017 as a clerical officer in the letter referenced in the report after successfully attending an interview, and was deployed to Nyaribari Masaba sub-county on 20th of March 2017. That he reported to Nyaribari Masaba sub-county office on 27th March 2017 and was thereafter deployed to Nyawasiba ward office as a clerical officer. That he has allegedly never been paid any salary to date and has never received his personal number despite having been approved by the Kisii County Public Service Board on 20th of July 2017 to be included in its payroll. Further, the county government has never confirmed his offer of appointment after a successful completion of the probationary period as stipulated by the Kenya labor laws. That the county government of Kisii has violated his rights as enshrined in the Constitution, which has caused him inconveniences and much trauma in his daily undertakings, and that he has made all efforts to have the matter addressed by the relevant bodies upon which they have raised directives to the county government of Kisii on the non-payment of his salary and confirmation of his employment, but the directive has not been implemented. Mr. Speaker, sir, the petitioner humbly prayed that the Senate investigates these issues and find out, 1, why his personal number was missing and why it was not processed by the county government, why his salary was not remitted by the county government, yet he was assigned duties, and make appropriate recommendations for his confirmation of his employment and compensation during the period. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee invited the petitioner, the Kisii County Secretary, and the chairperson of the Kisii County Public Service Board to a meeting on the 10th of November 2021 to elaborate further on the issues raised in the petition and to supply supporting evidence on the same, as well as the and we requested written responses on the said matter. Following the committee's engagement with the petitioner and the Kisii County Public Service Board and County Secretary regarding the petition and subsequent deliberations, the committee made the following observations. 1, the petitioner failed to submit support documents as requested. These documents included the interview schedule, proof of invitation for interview, proof of delegation of duties by supervisors, and proof of service delivered for 3 years. The petitioner presented stamped documentation that include the offer of appointment, recall deployment letter, leave application form, and the transfer letters. However, the authenticity of these documents could not be ascertained. That the recruitment process, Mr. Speaker, that the petitioner claimed led to his appointment was nullified by a court of law. The Kisii County Public Service Board is the board responsible for competitively sourcing and recommending employees for employment and further ensuring appropriate remuneration. A County Public Service Board is expected to, for a specific period, for a specified time, maintain a record of all applications received in response to advertisements, inviting applications, and such record may be inspected by any person. And that Section 75 of the County Government Act 2012 provides that if it comes to the attention of the County Public Service Board that there is reason to believe that any process or decision under the County Public Service may have occurred in an irregular or fraudulent manner, the County Public Service Board shall investigate the matter and if satisfied that the irregularity or fraud has occurred, the County Public Service Board may do one of three things. 1, revoke the decision. 2, direct the concerned head of department or lawful authority to commence the process afresh. Or C, take any corrective action, including disciplinary action. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee therefore recommends the following after it's observed that number 1, that Mr. Isaac Siko Nyakeriga was properly dismissed by the County Public Service Board of Kisii. That number 2, the Kisii County Public Service Board, going forward, must comply with the rules on recruitment and employment as prescribed by the County Government Act 2012. And 3, the County Public Service Boards which fail to comply with the law and persons engaging in illegal recruitment processes must take personal culpability in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, this case was an extremely unique case and very difficult for us because this gentleman, and it was alleged in that meeting by the County Public Service Board and the County Secretary that the previous County Public Service Board would schedule recruitment for maybe 15 positions, and once the shortlisting is done, the person in charge would send 20 letters, for instance, and would irregularly employ additional people. This is a matter that went to court. The County Public Service Board leadership that time was dismissed, and there are many, not just Mr. Nyakeriga, many of these officers who had been irregularly employed or recruited had their recruitment actually nullified. Mr. Speaker, we have given a warning to public service boards which fail to comply, because we also know how the wage bill is in illegal recruitment process, especially those with a political angle, that will take personal culpability in accordance to the law. Mr. Speaker, it is now my duty to table the reports of the 3 petitions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Labour. Senator Gertrude Msuluve. And for due interest of time, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, Senator Sakaja, for also the report you have given, the petitions from the Labour Committee. Honorable Speaker, I would like to bring to the floor of this House that Senator Sakaja, yes, has talked about the Matendechere issue. But I want to say before the floor of this House that Matendechere is someone who is helpless and needs somebody to hold his hand. He needs the Senate to hold his hand. The case that Senator Sakaja has mentioned is in court is actually not in court, Honorable Speaker. I spoke to him and he actually mentioned that he has never been summoned, he has never been given a notice, nobody has even called him, and he's just wallowing in, in Lugari. He doesn't know how he will sort out his issue, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there is need for the Senate to investigate if Matendechere's case is in court. Let the Senate come out clearly and say who is representing Matendechere in court. What is the case number? What is the file number? The reports that come on the floor of this House should be true reports that are going to help Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. There is the pro bono, yes. Was Matendechere given the pro bono? He was not given the pro bono. So, Honorable Speaker, I say as a senator representing persons with disabilities, I will not allow false information to come on this House on issues of disability. Matendechere must get his legal right, Honorable Speaker. And when it comes to right, it should not be delayed. Honorable Speaker, there is need to investigate the Matendechere issue because of the disability that Broadway's caused. And he needs to be compensated, Honorable Speaker. I will not joke and I will not entertain when PWDs are actually marginalized, are actually downtrodden, and the Senate is not supporting them. The Matendechere issue should be followed in this Senate. He needs to get his compensation. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What is it, Senator Sakaja?
Mr. Speaker, we feel that passion as well.
And Senator Sakaja,
I want to,
please, you have given you like 5 minutes. respond?
Even 5 minutes are a lot.
Okay.
I wish Senator Musuruve listened carefully to what I said. Number one, the case which he says was not filed is CMCC number 38 of 2021. Daniel Matendechere, Aura versus Broadway Bakery Limited, and James Ndura. This gentleman came before the committee, Senator Musuruve. We listened to the gentleman. He even had his pastor with him and a few other of his family. We deeply empathize with his situation, but there's a process of law that we've recommended here. There's a second opinion that was to be sought medically under the Weber Act. And we've said that even if it needs to be facilitated, because he said he cannot get it because he could not access, transport. Mr. Speaker, in that meeting, we told Broadway Limited that they must facilitate this gentleman to go get the second opinion. There is something called DOSH, which is the Director of Occupational Safety Health. And we've said, Mr. Speaker, that upon his compliance with that, just to get a second opinion. In fact, Senator Musuruve, with that passion, you can also pay for him. Take him to get that second opinion. Once he gets that second opinion, Mr. Speaker, I have given a timeline that within less than 30 days, he must be given his benefits. Senator Kwamboka is a member of my committee, Senator Shionga, you all were there. There is no way outside the law that you can process those benefits. So we've said within 1 month. And if you need Senator Musuruve, I can even accompany you to take him. I'm willing to do that because I empathize with his position. And after that, I've said this company will file monthly progress report until the finalization of those claims. There's nothing beyond that, Mr. Speaker, or outside the law that you can do. This gentleman worked for that company for long. It is unfortunate, but I think even as members, as senators, as we help our people, let's advise them properly to seek that help or to do things according to the law, Senator Musuruve. Mr. Speaker, finally, I think it is improper for a member to impute improper motive on a committee and to say that we are bringing lies, etc. We have gone through this professionally with our teams, with the secretariat that's very professional. Mr. Speaker, if there's any additional thing that the senator would advise us to do in addition to this, we'd be very happy to do that. But, shouting at us will not solve Mr. Matenjere's issue. Just get the second opinion. Once we have the second opinion by DOSH, we'll make sure that he has fully been compensated in accordance with the law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Ina Kwamba, was it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to, because the Senator Sakaja was on the floor and he was giving a report on a progress report on the committee. The Speaker, and I agree with Senator Sakaja that his committee has continued to do a good job. In fact, a good job to take care of the interests of workers who have been mistreated by employers for a long time. Speaker, I would just want to find out from Senator Sakaja. There is a matter that I brought to his committee and is very aware of it, of a member of my society who was working for Kenyatta National Hospital. He was fired irregularly. The advice even from the principal secretary in the ministry is that he should have been reinstated to full employment with benefits, but KNH has refused to do that. The committee was handling that matter. I would be happy to receive some updates on what has happened with that case, because the man is still on my back. I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Hagura Godan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank Senator Sakaja and the Labour Committee for being prompt and following up these issues, especially these are individuals who have exhausted the means by which they could address the issues. That's why they brought to the Senate. And if it reaches a point where now at least the individual is called, the employer is contacted, and the issues are raised and sorted out, I think Kenyans have hope that the Senate, as it were, has at least given them another chance. And it goes out to the employers, because we know of cases where we are still following at personal, as leaders, employees come to us when they have problem with the employers. Sometimes you'll find that somebody is being penalized for maybe mistakes which don't warrant that kind of penalization, but because they think this person, once he's penalized, cannot go anywhere, then they take those kind of actions. But it's at least clear to the employers that when they mistreat Kenyans, they have other points of call, and Senate is one such point of call. And I thank the Labour Committee, the way it has expeditiously carried out these petitions, and it goes to all of us also, because other committees also are handling petitions which are not doing as well. Some committees we belong to, we are all guilty in that crime. Let's work hard and make sure that we address the plight of Kenyans to conclusion within the required time.
Senator Cherargei Samson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For this opportunity, I want to commend the Committee of Labour and Social Welfare, led by Senator Sakaja. Mr. Speaker, I think one of the biggest threats to the functionality of devolved units is how to handle the staff of county. And I remember the county government of Nandi yesterday made the Nandi workforce, and therefore the argument has been to use contract. I know the Labour Committee should advise Senate and the county governments on how, Mr. Speaker, they can manage the issue of workforce. Because as we talk, most of the workforce across the county, including mine, is beyond more than 35% that is recommended under PMF Act and under the legislative. Mr. Speaker, I think country and counties and most of us would want to be governors in future, including the Chair of Labour and Social Welfare, Senator Sakaja, should be very keen, because what is eating out resources of Labour and Social Welfare, and we have Senator Susan Kiika, who wants to be the governor of Nakuru. Most of the endangers the functionality is that there is a lot of recurrent, Mr. Speaker, that is paid through workforce. And therefore, when you see Nandi, for example, the county government has decided to extend by 1 year so that they insulate themselves from the nomination that is coming up and the general elections that is coming up. So we can't use stick and carrot in terms of running human resources of the county, Mr. Speaker. So I think in future the Labour Committee must advise us on how to handle staff, because most of the staff, Mr. Speaker, either on contractual agreement, others are either on contract, others are not, have not been paid. You see county government staff even take 3 to 6 months without payment, Mr. Speaker. For example, in Nandi, the ECD teachers are paid 10,000 per permanent and pensionable. What can you do with 10,000 shillings, Mr. Speaker, with this economy? So, Mr. Speaker, I congratulate the committee and wish them well.
Senator Naomi Shionga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity, and I just want to commend our chair, where I am one of the members in the Labour Committee, for the good work that he's doing we are doing under his leadership, and indeed we have really worked around the clock just to make sure that most of the work we are accomplishing with it align, and it is a good learning yardstick, because the petitioners, most of them, we have seen their stakeholders as outlined in the report, and indeed, if anybody has a problem in through the petition that have been outlined with the chair, then it is very important that she would have or he would have joined the committee. But we really exhausted all the stakeholders that needed to be to handle the matters, and it is what you are seeing, that the observation were read in this on the floor of this house, and the recommendation were done. And it is just good that again we do not lock out so many people who feel like they can add up, because contributing to this report, it is enhancing the report. It's actually enhancing the observation that other members who did not get an opportunity probably to contribute, then they can contribute and it can be captured on the Hansard. And then when we are implementing or when we are looking at what has been done so far, we do not close it out. Otherwise, I really want to comment, because most of these petitions that come to Labour Committee, it is either mishandling of workers or maybe lack of compensation or unfair dismissal from the companies, and so on and so on. So I think we are doing good. We have done well, and I urge this House to continue doing the best through the committees. And some of the committees are just like this one of Labour that are doing very well, and my committee, National Cohesion and Equal Opportunity Regional Integration, to see that everything is under control and we have equity and inclusivity within Kenyans and their achievement. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chair, Senator Sakaja, there was an issue that was raised by Senator Wambua.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, indeed, Senator Wambua brought this very important matter. And I just want to reiterate to the people of Kitui, they are a proper representative. Even all the former councillors should know, if it was not Senator Wambua and yours truly, the Speaker, first of all, you on the chair, not even me, the issue of the one-off honorarium would not have gotten to where it is, and now they are going to receive 200,000. But on this issue, Mr. Speaker, it is true that there was a matter of Mr. Malombe, whose phone number ends with 757. I know because I've also been following up with him individually. The Kenyatta National Hospital did a response that they sent to the Ministry of Labour. The Ministry of Labour was to finalize this week. They haven't yet sent it, but as soon as they do, I'll share it with Senator Wambua. As soon as they do that, I'm following it up with CS in charge of Labour. We'll be sure to sort that out.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader. Okay, we defer. Chair Sipaik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 2nd December 2021. The report of the Sessional Committee on County Public Accounts and Investments on the consideration of the audit reports of the following county executives for the financial year 2018-19, Volume 1, Embu, Homa Bay, Kericho, Kilifi, Kirinyaga, Kisii, Kwale, Machakos, Mombasa, Nandi, Baringo, Bomet, Garissa, Kajiado, and West Pokot. Volume 2, report of the Senate Sessional Committee on County Public Accounts and Investments on the consideration of the audit reports of the following county executives for the financial year 2018-19, Isiolo, Kakamega, Kisumu, Laikipia, Mandera, Marsabit, Nakuru, Narok, Nyandarua, Samburu, Taita Taveta, Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, Vihiga, and Wajir. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the report on the table of the House.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following reports on the table of the Senate today, 3rd December 2021. 1, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements for CI County Executive for the period ending, for the year ended 30th June 2020. Report of the Auditor General on financial statements of Siaya County Assembly for the year ended 30th June 2020. Report of the Auditor General on financial statements for Kirinyaga County Executive for the year ended 30th June 2020. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kirinyaga County Assembly for the year 30th June 2020. For the year ended 30th June 2020. 5, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kericho County Executive for the year ended 30th June 2020. 6, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nyamira County Executive for the year ended 30th June 2020. 7th, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nyamira County Assembly for the year ended 30th June 2020. 8, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Isiolo County Executive for the year ended 30th June 2020. 9, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Isiolo County Assembly for the year ended 30th June 2020. 10, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Narok County Executive for the year ended 30th June 2020. 11, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Marsabit County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 12, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Meru Water and Sewerage Services Registered Trustees for the year ended 30th June 2019. 13, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Malindi Water and Sewerage Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. 14, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kieni Water and Sewerage Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. 15, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Wajir County Executive for the year ended 30th June 2020. 16, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Wajir County Assembly for the year ended 30th June 2020. 17, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Busia County Assembly for the year ended 30th June 2020. 18, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Busia County Executive for the year ended 30th June 2020. 19, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Laikipia County Bursary Fund
What
for the year ended
is it,
30th
Senator
June
Wetangula?
2019.
Did you notice the distinguished senator for Nandi walking across the floor in front of the mess as if he's in a village in Nandi? Mr. Speaker, we need to respect our standing orders, and this is a house where decorum is critical.
Yes. Senator Cherargei, please do what is required of the House.
You should bow 10 times. Mr. Speaker, let me proceed. 20, the report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Migori County Ward Development Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 21, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Garissa County Revolving Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 22, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisumu County Trade Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 23, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nandi County Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 24, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Siaya County Assembly Car Loan and Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 25, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kiambu County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 26, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Uasin Gishu County Executive Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme for the year ended 30th June 2019. And 27, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Bomet Water Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2019. There is 2019, I think that suffices, right?
I don't know, but I just heard.
What is it, Senator Ambwa?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I see it's 3:22. Mr. Speaker, I remember very well, you gave an order before we went for the lunch break that we resume at exactly 2:30. The report on the bill that we were debating before we went for lunch be tabled so that senators can have an opportunity to interact with the report before debate resumes. Mr. Speaker, your orders must be complied with.
It's true, Senator Wambua, that's what we ordered, and it is the next order. He's tabling, the chair of Health is tabling right away. Okay, proceed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 2nd December 2021. State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice Report, Annual Report 2020-2021, Gazette Notice number 12385. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair, Health.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, the 2nd of December 2021. The first one is the 4th progress report of the Standing Committee on Health on the COVID-19 pandemic situation and the implementation of the nationwide COVID-19 vaccine deployment. The second one is the report of the Standing Committee on Health on the National Health Insurance Fund Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 21, 2021. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair, Labour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 2nd December 2021. The report of the Standing Committee on Labour and Social Welfare on the new Dandora Stadium. Mr. Speaker, thank you for indulgence. Just to mention quickly the recommendations, because this is a matter of great public interest, and I see Senator Kwamboka is listening. Mr. Speaker, the committee visited yesterday. We've done our report. The project has stalled for more than 3 years. We listened to the EACC, to Nairobi County Government, and to all the stakeholders, and we're recommending the following: that Nairobi County Government review the terms in accordance with the law and complete the Dandora Stadium project as soon as possible. This Senate has resolved to give the county government the go-ahead to complete this stadium, which is already 65% done, only a very small portion remaining. Number two, due to public interest, EACC concludes on its investigation on the matter as the works continue. And the EACC told us they have not stopped these works. There is no reason why Dandora Stadium is not being completed. And number three, due to the advanced stage of the project, the Senate directs that the county government of Nairobi re-engages a contractor to complete this project in the shortest time possible. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, Senator Millicent Omanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 2nd December 2021. Report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the approval of the Senate nominee to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Senator Millicent Omanga.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on approval of Senate nominee to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board laid on the table of the Senate today, Thursday, 2nd December 2021, and pursuant to Standing Order 72C3 of the Senate Standing Orders and paragraph 41E of the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Regulations 2021 approves Mr. Victor Ochieng Odanga for the appointment to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair Health, Senator Mbito. Senator Mbito. Senator Mbito.
Sorry. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the 4th progress report of the Standing Committee on Health on the COVID-19 pandemic situation and the implementation of the nationwide COVID-19 vaccine deployment laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, the 2nd of December, 2021. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Chair, Sipike.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Sessional Committee on County Public Accounts and Investment on the consideration of the report by the Auditor General on financial statements of the following county executive for the financial year 2018-19. Embu, Homa Bay, Kericho, Kilifi, Kirinyaga, Kisii, Kwale, Machakos, Mombasa, Nandi, Baringo, Bomet, Garissa, Kajiado, and West Pokot, as contained in Volume 1 of the report, and the following county executives: Isiolo, Kakamega, Kisumu, Laikipia, Mandera, Marsabit, Nakuru, Narok, Nyandarua, Samburu, Taita Taveta, Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, Vihiga, and Wajir, as contained in Volume 2 of the report laid on the table of the Senate today, Thursday, 2nd December 2021.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Senator Mbito has deferred. Senator Mwaruma. Nominated Senator Beatrice Kwamboka.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I raise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations on the status of an inquest to the murder of Miss Agnes Wanjiru by a British Army officer in Nanyuki, Laikipia County, following her disappearance in March 2012. In the statement, the committee should, number one, explain the reasons why, up to date, Kenyan authorities have never finalized their investigations into Miss Wanjiru's murder 9 years after her body was found in a septic tank following her disappearance. Number two, explain whether the trial of the suspect who confessed to committing the crime will be conducted here in Kenya. Number three, outline the actions, if any, that will be taken against Kenyan officers who have been handling the investigations for abetting the delay in justice for the deceased and her family. Number four, state the measures the government will put in place to ensure that justice is served, including compensation to the family and an apology from the British Army. And number five, elucidate on the actions the ministry intends to take to ensure that cooperations will remain healthy between the two countries. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have another one. Should I proceed?
Yeah, proceed. Senator Kwamboka Beatrice, please proceed. Please proceed with.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, sir, I raise person to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations concerning the state of police stations in the country. In the statement, the committee should, number one, state the specific locations and number of gazetted police stations in the country. Number two, state the amount of public funds disbursed in the last 24 months for the maintenance of these police stations. Number three, ascertain the state and level of sanitary conditions in the police stations. Number four, list the type of furniture and office equipment allocated to each of these stations, stating the adequacy of the equipment to facilitate the police officers in undertaking their roles of service provisions to Kenyans. Number five, investigate the state of working conditions in these stations, ascertaining the impact of these conditions in service provision. And number six, outline measures, if any, that the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government will put in place to improve the status of these facilities in ensuring the police stations are fully functional. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Senator Kwamboka quickly to comment on the first statement on the killing of one of your residents from Laikipia County is very unfortunate. And there has been push and pull since she was killed more than many years ago. The county, the national government through DCI and the Embassy of Britain continues to do something. And it looks like the life of our sister who was brutally taken away, Mr. Speaker, is much less important than the training camp that we have for the British soldiers in Laikipia, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, we really need to be told this is abuse of human rights. This also gender-based violence, Mr. Speaker, and therefore even as we fight the gender-based violence, because our sister was just killed in unknown circumstances, the British government and the DCI must tell the country what they have done. And it's unfortunate even the DCI have never gone to Britain and arrest the purported suspect who committed the crime many years ago. So I really want to say the family and the Kenyans are looking keenly on what the British government and the DCI and the Kenyan government, but the Kenyan government should know that each and everyone's life is much more important, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on the second statement on the state of police station, Mr. Speaker, personally, I've been a frequent visitor to police station, Mr. Speaker, just a minute. Being a frequent, Mr. Speaker, just add me a minute. Mr. Speaker, being a frequent visitor of police station, I can confirm the sanitary conditions of most of our police stations, Mr. Speaker, is in pathetic state. And therefore, when you go there is painting, the issue of abolition blocks, Mr. Speaker, the space with the coffee that we have, Mr. Speaker. I think we need much more money, Mr. Speaker, on how we can maintain those police stations, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is important that the Ministry of Interior should provide a regular budget to ensure that people who are arrested daily, be it anybody, any suspect that is going to police station, Mr. Speaker, and even finally, Mr. Speaker, we should put more money to expand, because some of the police stations were built during colonial or post-colonial period, Mr. Speaker. So I really want to thank Senator Kwamboka for these two important statements, and I hope the committees will dispense forthwith, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you. I defer C, and we'll come back to it if time allows. We go to D, Majority Leader.
My statement. My statement.
Yes, your statement.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Order number 52.2, I hereby present to the Senate the status of the business of the House. As you are aware, today is the last sitting day pursuant to Senate calendar adopted on Tuesday, 16th February 2021. At the rights of the Senate today, the Senate will proceed on recess until Tuesday, 8th of February 2022. Mr. Speaker, with respect to the business of the Senate, in compliance with the judgment of the High Court in Constitutional Petition 284 of 2019, issued on 20th October 2020, has published 73 bills. Out of these bills, 3 have been assented to, 16 are pending consideration by the National Assembly, while 23 other bills are the second reading stage, 5 of which have been listed in today's order paper for the order number 12 to 16, from order number 12 to 16, which are awaiting division. 10 bills are scheduled for the Committee of the Whole stage, 6 of which have been listed in today's order paper from order number 17 to 22, and a further 23 bills undergoing concurrence processes pursuant to Article 110.3 of the Constitution. I will urge all senators to avail themselves this afternoon for the bills at the division stage and those that are Committee of the Whole. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am sure that we all appreciate and recognize the importance of petitions as legislative tools to undertake our mandate of oversight and representation. The public continues to place great importance in this tool, and as evidenced by the number of petitions that the Senate continues to receive, I would like to bring the attention of the Senate that a total of 138 petitions have been submitted since the beginning of the parliamentary term, out of which 87 reports have been tabled by the respective committees. Let me take this opportunity to thank the standing committees for their tremendous work. I would like to single out the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare, who upon tabling the reports on the petitions as indicated in the order paper, will have no pending petition before it by the close of this session. I urge the remaining committees to move with speed and conclude all pending petitions and table reports as required by Standing Order 53.2. With respect to statements, 59 statements have been made pursuant to Standing Order 47, and 182 statements have been requested in this session under Standing Order 48. Honorable Senators, we recall that the standing orders were amended in the year 2018 to streamline the processing of statements. I take this opportunity to also applaud all the committees that have responded on statements and tabled reports thereon, some of which have resulted in motions filed, debated, and resolutions made. On motions, Mr. Speaker, the motions before the House, a total number of 60 motions were filed in the 5th session. Out of these, the Senate has debated and concluded on 45 of them, while 15 of them are pending debate and determination by way of resolution. It is important for senators to note that at the close of this session, unconcluded motions will lapse, and respective sponsors will be required to refile them afresh in the next session. All senators who have not had their motions debated are therefore urged to indicate to the office of the clerk so that they are refiled upon resumption of sitting in February 2022. The speakers, you may be aware the budget policy statement, the draft division of revenue bill, and the draft county allocation of revenue bill for the next financial year were tabled before the Senate yesterday, Wednesday, 1st December 2021. I would like to reiterate the directions issued by the Speaker in a communication to the Senate of the need by standing committees to critically consider the budget policy statement and submit their recommendations to the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, so as to facilitate the Standing Committee to table its report on or before Monday, the 13th of December, 2021. Considering that the Senate will proceed on recess at the rise of the House today, at the appropriate time, I will make a request to the Speaker for convening a special sitting to consider the budget policy statement in accordance with the Standing Order 180. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank all senators for the dedication and commitment they have demonstrated in their work in service to the people of Kenya. As we proceed on recess, it's my hope that you will use the available opportunity to meet with constituents, spend some time with your families and friends, and also rest in preparation for the coming year 2022. I hasten to state that COVID-19 global pandemic has continued to persist with the latest variant, Omicron. It is therefore paramount that we all continue to keep safe while adhering to all protocols put in place in order to minimize the spread and risk of infection. In conclusion, Speaker, this being the first time of the year that is associated with 3 important holidays in Kenya, allow me to end by wishing all honorable senators a happy Jamhuri Day, a Merry Christmas, and a prosperous year 2022. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and hereby lay the statement on the table of the Senate.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Next order.
Order number 8, the County E-Health Bill, Senate Bills number 39 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an Act of Parliament to provide a framework for the implementation of Section 104 of the Health Act 2017, the provision of telemedicine services and the establishment and management of e-health infrastructure and services at the national and county levels of government and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 9, the Employment Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 54 of 2021, a bill for an Act of Parliament to amend the Employment Act to provide for the right to disconnect, the right of employees to have their personal time and privacy respected and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 10, motion, adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the approval of the Senate nominee to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board.
Senator Faria.
You want to move? This is going. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me opportunity to move the motion for adoption of a nominee of the Senate to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Administration Regulation 2021 were published by Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Planning on 29th April 2021 via legal notice number 54 of 2021. Pursuant to section 205(1) of the Public Finance Act 2012, they were approved by Parliament on 12th October 2021 pursuant to section 205 subsection 4 and 6 of the Public Finance Management Act. Mr. Speaker, the regulation provides framework for administration and management of the Equalization Fund. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 4 of the regulation provide for the establishment of Equalization Fund Advisory Board, whose membership comprises of one nominee by the Senate, as per paragraph 4, subsection 1E of the regulation. Through the letter dated 25th October 2021, the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Planning wrote to the Senate to nominate a member to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board in accordance with the paragraph 4(1)(e) of the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Administration Regulation 2021. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, via a communication made on Tuesday, 2nd November 2021, informed the Senate of the letter received from the Cabinet Secretary. The Speaker then directed the clerk to advertise the vacancy and, upon closure of the application period, to transmit the names and all documentations received from interested persons to the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget for shortlisting. Public participation and vetting pursuant to Standing Order number 72 of the Senate Standing Orders. The Speaker further directed the committee to table the report in the Senate by Thursday, 2nd December 2021. An advertisement calling for the application of nominee by the Senate to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board was published in the Daily Nation and Standard newspaper on Wednesday, 3rd November 2021, and Kenyan Gazette Note number 224. The applications were to be received on or before Wednesday, 17th November 2021 at 5 p.m. East Africa time. At the close of application period, 37 applications were received. The committee collected the applications and established 2 applicants had submitted the application twice via email and hand delivery. Following the long listing of the application, the committee conducted a shortlisting exercise. In shortlisting suitable candidates, the committee gave due regard to the application criteria as set out in the advertisement as follows: a citizen of Kenya, hold a degree from recognized university in Kenya, have at least 5 years professional experience in relevant field, and meet the requirement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. According to the exercise, the committee was keen to ensure that the recommended candidate met the statutory requirement for appointment and was suitable for appointment to the office. This indeed is expected to promote integrity in the office and uphold good governance. The requirement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution demand that those aspiring to hold public office must be beyond reproach in order to promote the good governance and observance of the rule of law in public institutions. The committee therefore agreed the current clearance from Directorate of Private Investigation, DCI, Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, EACC, Higher Education Loan Board, relevant professional bodies, and any of the Credit Reference Bureau, CRB, were an illustration of the candidates' adherence to the requirement of leadership and integrity as stipulated under Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, further, in determining the 5-year professional experience in relevant field, the committee considered the function of an advisory board as stated under paragraph 8 of the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Administration Regulation 2021, as this has an implication on the suitability of the nominee to perform their duty. In that regard, the committee considered an experience in the field of finance, management, economics, governance, project management, and community development. Based on the criteria set, and having followed the process under the law and the Senate standing orders, the committee shortlisted 8 candidates for vetting. These are listed as per the report, Mr. Speaker. The name of the shortlisted were published in the Stand and Daily Nation newspaper 23rd November 2021 in accordance with Senate Standing Order 72CI. Via the advertisement published, the names of the shortlisted candidate members of the public were invited to submit memoranda and any information of interest with respect to the suitability of any shortlisted applicants to serve as a member of the Equalization Fund Advisory Board in accordance with Standing Order 72CI. Further, upon shortlisting, the committee exercised due diligence, wrote to the Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, EACC, NIS, Director of Criminal Investigation, DCI, seeking reference on the background checks relating to the suitability of the shortlisted candidates. The committee also wrote to the university attended by the 8 shortlisted to ascertain the authenticity of their academic certificates. The committee further developed and adopted interview criteria, interview tools for the position. An interview score sheet was adopted to assess applicants during the vetting process. The vetting of the candidates was successfully conducted on 1st December 2021 at Parliament Building. Mr. Speaker, the committee, upon consideration of the results of the vetting, recommends that the Senate nominates Mr. Victor Ochieng Odanga, ID number 27802734, for appointment as the Senate nominee to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board in accordance with paragraph 4(1)(e) of the Public Finance Equalization Fund Administration Regulation 2021. The committee thanks all the 35 applicants who submitted their applications for expressing their interest in serving the country in the Equalization Advisory Board. The committee further acknowledges the contribution of members of the public who submitted memoranda on shortlisted candidates. Mr. Speaker, the committee appreciates and thanks the following agencies for providing reference background checks related to the suitability of the shortlisted candidate: KRA, EACC, NIS, and DCI. Further, the committee thanks the Office of the Speaker of the Clerk and Senate for the support extended to the committee in execution of its mandate. We acknowledge and appreciate the members of the committee for their patience, sacrifice, commitment to public service, which enable the committee complete the assigned tasks within the stipulated time. It is now, Mr. Speaker, I also wish to thank the Secretariat of the Finance Committee, who have always been committed in terms of their performance, advice, and legal know-how that always supports this committee in terms of its reports and in terms of its function. Mr. Speaker, it is now my pleasure, duty, and privilege on behalf of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget to present to the Senate the report of Committee on the nomination of Equalization Fund Advisory Board. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I wish to ask Senator Pugisho to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and ask the Majority Leader to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Give me that. This was a long. Mr. Speaker, I beg to second. Mr. Speaker, this is a straightforward vote for members because it's just the name already here that has been approved by the committee. And the Speaker, the fact that there is timelines we have to complete to finish doing this now. We are timed out almost. And the Speaker, I just want to request that members do support, and therefore I do second. Speaker, thank you.
Order, members. Order, members. Order. I propose the question, which is that the Senate adopts the report of Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the approval of the Senate nominee to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board, read on the table of the Senate today, Thursday 2nd, 2021, and pursuant to Standing Order 72C3 of the Senate Standing Orders and paragraph 41E of the Public Finance Management Equalization Fund Administration Regulation 2021, approves Mr. Victor Ochieng Ogada for appointment to the Equalization Fund Advisory Board. Senator Sakaja.
Mr. Speaker, I seek your direction. This is a novel process in the Senate where for the first time we're approving a name after having configured ourselves as a recruitment agency, did interviews, and then did the report by the Budget Committee, and now we are voting. Mr. Speaker, the directions I seek from your chair is as follows. What happens, Mr. Speaker, if the plenary disagrees with the name? Does the process start afresh? Can there be an amendment to the report? Mr. Speaker, it's important to know, even as we get into the debate, the implications of whatever action senators are going to take as we get into it, Mr. Speaker. I would appreciate that during the course of this debate, so that we know before you put the question. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, but also actually that moves now to the issue of having a common wage for everyone, Mr. Speaker, for seeing and looking forward to where economies will be predominantly mechanized and where labor will have very little to do in those economies. But because we are not there yet, Mr. Speaker, we need to embrace and spur economies and industries that are labor intensive to provide opportunities for the many people in the rural areas to be real agents of...
Member for Kabuchai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also support this petition on mechanization, Mr. Speaker. That, Mr. Speaker, when we mechanize this tea plucking, Mr. Speaker, yes, it's good. Yes, Mr. Speaker, it saves on time. But, Mr. Speaker, this is only done in areas where we lack casual laborers. We have countries, Mr. Speaker, where you can look for manual labor and don't find. These are the only countries, Mr. Speaker, we can allow for these machines to be used and take the jobs of men. But, Mr. Speaker, in our country, like Kenya here, my people from Western, Mr. Speaker, they are the most relied people who black tea, Mr. Speaker, in Jebaun, Kapsuser, down, Mr. Speaker, in Seretet, even in Finlay, Mr. Speaker, in Kericho. Mr. Speaker, if we bring out this, we shall lay off so many people. And the economy, Mr. Speaker, is on the bottom. When we pay well those workers, we give a strong base, Mr. Speaker. And the bottom, Mr. Speaker, to rise up and have the bottom-up economy, Mr. Speaker.
We pay well these people, Mr. Speaker. And then they will rise, Mr. Speaker, to they will have the best economy in the world by taking the best of this. Mr. Speaker, I don't want this to move further and even affect the sugarcane harvesting, Mr. Speaker. Where if we use the mechanized harvesting, workers might not cut cane and we don't have much pay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the petition. Member for Buret. Member for Buret.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do rise to support this petition, Mr. Speaker, that the coming in of machines in the tea growing areas has impacted negatively on the economy in those areas, Mr. Speaker. First of all, majority of the population, Mr. Speaker, rely on working on the tea plantation. But as a result of mechanization, many livelihoods have been affected. All sectors, Mr. Speaker, have been affected, from the pluckers, the transporters who ferry workers to the tea plantation, Mama Mboga who provides food for the workers who are working at the plantation, even the suppliers of food for the workers who work at the plantation have all been affected, Mr. Speaker. It's a whole chain, Mr. Speaker, that has been affected. And the advent of these machines is impacting negatively. Notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, that the population in those areas are coming to terms with the economy which has been affected by COVID. Now they have to deal with mechanization. Mr. Speaker, these companies, they have not sensitized the population. They should be transient. There is a way in which they should have introduced the mechanization. But just coming in and terminating employment is unwarranted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this economy, the economy of the areas, are built by the larger population. Coming of the machine will undo what has been done in many generations, Mr. Speaker. Currently, Mr. Speaker, with the bottom-up economy, Mr. Speaker, we need all the workers on the bottom be given the work, the wages to come from the bottom as you progress, and at the right time, when we are up there, we can go to the machines. But as of now, let's build the economy from the bottom, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, the last one now on this member for Tharaka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I comment on the first petition and support the same and seek that it's moved expeditiously so that the issue of squatters can at least be addressed and possibly resolved. Mr. Speaker, I just retreated to the back chamber to discuss very important legal matters that are coming before the House when I heard the Honorable Member for Imenti North mention a place known as Kwangombe, stating that it is in North Imenti and it is occupied by squatters from my constituency, Tharaka. Mr. Speaker, allow me to say that that is extremely frivolous and vexatious, and that in fact, Honorable Dawood does not know where Kwangombe is. He has never set foot there. He has never asked for votes there. He doesn't even have one single development in that particular area. Record will bear me out that the market called Kwangombe is actually in Tharaka Nithi County. The school, primary school at Kwangombe is in Tharaka constituency, and the polling station where I got voted is actually in Tharaka. The only reason why Honorable Dawood brings this claim is purely because he may have run out of land in Meru and he is seeing untitled land in Tharaka, and he wishes to come down and get his people to actually occupy that land. It is therefore not true. Kwangombe and all these other places along the boundary are actually in Tharaka. As far as Honorable Kiringo is concerned, he is from Igembe Central, and Igembe Central does not border Tharaka at all. So if there are any people in Igembe Central who are from Tharaka, then they have actually bought that land on a willing buyer, willing seller, and therefore Honorable Kiringo cannot complain.
Well, the petitions stand committed to the respective committees. Honourable members, you know, if somebody says something that contradicts some facts, that is not it is not another matter. That's merely a point of argument. Please, let's the petitions be dealt with there. Let's move to next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader of majority.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021, afternoon sitting. The reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect of the following institutions for the year ended 30th of June 2021 and certificates therein. A. East Africa Trade and Transport Facilitation Project, IDA credit number 4148 KE and credit number 4977 KE MOT component. Number B, East Africa Trade and Transport Facilitation Project, MOT/KRC component. Credit number 4148-KE and credit number 4977-KE. Number C, Multiple Indicator Cluster Service Project of UNICEF. Number D, the support of the healthcare financing strategy, reproductive health, output-based approach, project credit BMZ. Number Kenya 201065853, Ministry of Health. Number 2, the reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect to the following institutions for the year ended 30th of June 2020 and the certificates therein. A. Special Economic Zones Authority, the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, the Kenya Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat, Commission for University Education, Kenya Film Classification Board, the Kenya Towns Sustainable Water Supply and Sanitation Project, AFDB loan number 20000501, Tana Water Works Development Agency, the University of Embu, the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. And number 3, the reports of the Auditor General and financial statement in respect to the following constituencies for the year ended 30th of June 2020 and the certificates therein. Number 1 is Bondo, Tigania West, Ugenya, Seme, Bureti, Bere South, and Isiolo South. Number 4, the reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect to the following constituencies for the year ended 30th of June 2019 and certificates therein. And these are Baringo Central, Chepalungu, Nakuru Town West, Baringo South, Njoro, Mogotio, and Dia. And lastly, the reports of the Auditor General and financial statements on Kenya Film Classification Board for the year ended 30th of June 2019 and the certificates therein. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Lands, Honourable Nyamai.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, as you directed, the 2 petitions that I'm going to table, the reports were handled concurrently. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, December 2nd, 2021. Reports of the Departmental Committee on Lands on 1, Public Petition number 45 of 2020 by residents of Garsen constituency in Tana River County regarding subdivision of agricultural development corporation land and stakeholders consultation on Galana Kulalu food security project, and public petition number 31 of 2021 by residents of Garsen constituency in Tana River County regarding degazettement of specified ADC land in Garsen constituency. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The Chairman, Departmental Committee on Lands. No, sorry, on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives.
Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, December 2nd, 2021, afternoon sitting. Report of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperatives on public petition number 22 of 2021 by small-scale traders and business people regarding closure of Jomo Kenyatta Public Beach and Mamagena Waterfront in Mombasa County. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The Chairperson, all member, Special Funds Accounts Committee. Honourable Bukose.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, December 2nd, 2021. the 11th report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on the audited financial statements for the National Government Constituencies Development Fund for 26 constituencies in the counties of Mombasa, Kilifi, Kwale, Taita Taveta, Lamu, and Tana River for financial years 2013-2014, 2014-2015, and 2015-2016. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Question by private notice, Honorable Simba Arati.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Notwithstanding of your earlier communication, Mr. Speaker, on the questions, I raised to ask question 12 of 2021 to the Cabinet Secretary of Health. What is the government's policy regarding detention of deceased bodies by hospitals over unpaid bills? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary compel the Kenyatta National Hospital, KNH, to release the bodies of the late William Gesige Oile of Nyariba and Masaba, who was admitted on 20th September 2021 and unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, passed on 22nd October 2021, and the late William Omagwa Siambe, ID card 37-12-21, orphan from Kiabugesi sublocation, Kenyanya sublocation, Kisii County, who was admitted on 15th September 2021 and unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, passed on 6th October 2021. And the bodies have been lying since then in the KNH mortuary with a bill of amounting of 2,267,6.564 and 50 cents and 1.798993 million respectively. 3, Mr. Speaker, when will the bodies of the said deceased persons be released for the burials? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Next question, honorary question to Honorable Joshua Kutun.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Of course, it will be replied before the Committee on Health. Sorry.
And Mr. Speaker, first of all, Mr. Speaker, before I ask this question 484, Mr. Speaker, I want to report back to you that upon asking the question yesterday, I want to thank the Chair for Agriculture for swiftly responding to my question today. And the Ministry appeared before the committee today. And they've responded, though the answer was not satisfactory, but we are still engaging, so hopeful by next week, Wednesday, as per the promise of the Ministry, the farmers are going to have every reason to smile. So the fears of the members that perhaps maybe these questions will lapse when we go for the recess, Mr. Speaker, there is a possibility that the response will be positive. So keep our spirits going, Mr. Speaker.
Well,
Mr. Speaker.
That's not to say that the standing orders will not apply. The spirits, obviously, we have every reason to add. We would want your spirits to be very high.
Thank you.
Proceed, Honorable Kutun.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question 484 of 2021 to the Cabinet's Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government. Mr. Speaker, 1, could the Cabinet Secretary explain the circumstances under which Mr. Barnabas Lagat of ID number 124-18176 was allegedly attacked and shot by a police officer attached to Kapchero Police Station at Kapsibilai Trading Center in Cherangani constituency, on 27 September 2021 because he was not wearing a face mask? And then 2, under what circumstances did the said officer stray beyond area of jurisdiction, considering that the Kapchero police station is in Elgeyo Marakwet County, while Kapsigilai Trading Center is in Trans Nzoia County, Mr. Speaker? Lastly, Mr. Speaker, are there any plans by the government to meet the medical bills incurred by Mr. Langat at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital and further compensate him for the shooting? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I've seen the chair here, and I'm sure he's going to assure me that by tomorrow we get the response. Thank you.
Well, the question will be replied before that committee, whose chair you have identified. Administration of National Security. The next question is by the member for North Imenti, Honorable Dawood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the question 526 of 2021, and it is directed to the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Planning. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain why Mr. Augustine Tomugweka, pension number APN/PC 126572, retired teacher and a resident from North Imenti constituency, has not been paid his pension dues for the months of January to May 2020 and March 2021. 2. What measures is the ministry putting in place to ensure that Mr. Augustine Tomugweka dues are paid, including interest, if any? Mr. Speaker, I would request for an email reply. I wouldn't mind, before instead of the question dying. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, that will be sorted by the Committee on Finance and National Planning. The next question is by the member for Mavoko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I raise to ask a question directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Mr. Speaker, number 1, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a detailed report on water projects implemented from 2017 to date, as well as ongoing, and the status across the country, indicating the location of the said projects in terms of constituency and the county? Number 2, Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary further provide details of water projects implemented by the national government in Machakos County, particularly in Mavoko constituency, including the names of contractors, scope of works done, and amount paid to each contractor? Number 3, could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the construction of Mangalalia Borehole and the Kavumboni Dam in Machakos County has stalled since 2019 to date, despite funds having been allocated? Number 4, Mr. Speaker, may the Cabinet Secretary tell us why the PS, one Joseph Irungu, is campaigning with taxpayers' money? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question will be replied to before the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. Next is by the member for Kirinyaga Central, the Honorable John Wambugu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 530 of 2021. The question is directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. 1. Could the Cabinet Secretary for Education explain the circumstances under which 41 students who sat for Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, KCSE, in 2012 at Sacred Heart Kangaita Secondary School in Kirinyaga Central constituency were denied their certificate by the Kenya National Examination Council, NEC? 2. Could the Cabinet Secretary also explain why NEC has failed to issue KCSE certificate to Gedai John Kariuki, index number 092034222035, and Kenywan D. Mureithi, index number 092034222005, who sat for KCSE in 2012 in the said school, despite the two having made numerous follow-ups and submitting all the requirements? 3. When will the affected students be issued with their KCSE certificates to enable them pursue their careers? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
question will be replied to before the Committee on Education and Research. What's your point of order, Honorable Fatuma Gedi? What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, listening to Mheshimiwa from Mavoko, he asked a question to the Cabinet Secretary of Water. Reading his question, Mr. Speaker, the last part that he mentioned, that the PS is campaigning with the money of the taxpayers, I think, Mr. Speaker, it needs to be removed from the record, because it's not in the question that he asked, and the PS is not here to defend himself. The PS of Water, Mr. Speaker, is not in the House, and the question is not in the question, Mr. Speaker.
Now, let me tell you, the last page of the question reads as follows. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain why the construction of the Ngalalia borehole and Kabomboni Dam in Machakos County are stalled since 2019 to date, despite funds having been allocated? So anything said beyond that is superfluous, and it is ordered to be expunged from the records. What will be presented to the Cabinet Secretary is this one. Those others are meant for entertainment. So the Honorable Fatuma, again, don't worry. They say, remember it was said by the Americans that Parliament in plenary is Parliament in exhibition. This is part of the exhibition. So don't worry about the exhibition. What will be sent is what is written here. Honorable Kabinga Washira, what is the issue?
Mr. Speaker, thank you for your ruling on that. But Mr. Speaker, this cannot go just like that. The honorable member included something that was not in his question. And this has character assassinated somebody who is not in this House, Honorable Speaker. I think he needs to either apologize or withdraw officially what he has said. This is a very serious
somebody has been assassinated.
Well, the character, his character.
Now this is I think let's forget about the assassination. They will survive. They may not have their heads chopped off. It's been expunged anyhow. It's expunged from the record. The last question is by the member for Langata, Honorable Nixon Korir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question 531 of 2021 to the Cabinet Secretary for devolution. Question number 1. What plans are there to rehabilitate the dilapidated roads in Langata constituency, particularly the roads within estates under the National Metropolitan Service? Question number 2. Could the service provide a list of the roads that have been rehabilitated, improved, or constructed in Langata constituency since the establishment of the National Metropolitan Services? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
To be replied before the Committee on Administration and National Security. Next segment is statement requests. And the first request is by the member for Laikipia North, the Honorable Sarah Korere. These are requests or responses. Is who was to respond? Committee on Administration, are you ready? Do you have the response ready?
These are responses, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, they are ready, yeah?
Yes.
The member is not present. Just table the report. Just table the report. Yeah. Just table it. That's enough.
Thank you, Honorable.
Just table it.
I hereby table, Honorable Speaker, the response to the statement which was sought in regard to information on banditry attacks in Laikipia County. Thank you.
The next one is by the member for Lafi, the Honorable Mude, Ibrahim Mude. Okay, it's gone on recess already. You can just table the report.
Honorable Speaker, I therefore table this response to the statement which was sought regarding kidnapping and disappearance of persons in the country, which was sought by Honorable Ibrahim Mude, Member of Parliament for Lafe constituency. Thank you.
The next one is the response to a request for a statement by the Honorable Caleb Amisi Luyai. That one was on recess at the beginning of the week, I think. Just table.
Honorable Speaker, therefore allow me to table the response to the statement which was sought by the member for Saboti constituency, the Honorable Caleb Amisi Luyai, regarding delays in the issuance of national identity cards. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Abdul Samad.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I've raised this matter. I think.
Which matter?
The issues that I'm about to explain, Mr.
But
Speaker.
you can't say you have raised a matter which you have not said. So what, you say it first, then you say you have raised
Mr. Speaker, we had raised issues with the Finance Committee and the Labour Committee. Mr. Speaker, these matters were regarding issues to do with the reinstatement of 247 employees from Kenya Ports Authority, and the issue to do with the Finance Committee was why KRA is enforcing people whose PIN is not from Mombasa. They cannot be able to collect or use their cargo the way that they want, basically trying to imply that Mombasa is not part of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I've raised this concern severally, both with the chairpersons on the floor of this House as well, considering, Mr. Speaker, that we are going for a long recess, and until today, I've waited until this very moment, the last moment feasible for me to be able to get a response, and I'm yet to get a response. And I think I leave it, the onus is on the chairpersons to be able to explain to themselves, and they're here, but they also feel very, very disturbed by what the ministry is doing and the kind of cat and mouse games that the executive is playing, Mr. Speaker. And I'd like you to be able to give a ruling on this matter, because every single day, Mr. Speaker, that passes, the livelihoods of the people of Mombasa are being jeopardized. Jobs are being lost. People are closing up factories. Warehouses are being shut down. CFSs are being shut down. People, livelihood, it's just becoming too unbearable. And if this House does not take that necessary action, Mr. Speaker, once again, we are looking at eventually having Mombasa to be a ghost town, whilst its representatives have raised these matters in the National Assembly.
Well, who is supposed to respond? Is it the Honorable?
It was both the Labour and Finance.
Honorable Wanga, do you have anything to say? This is good for end of term. I mean, it's good, isn't it?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I empathize with the Honorable Abdul Samad, because one of the most important responsibilities that we have as members of parliament is to stand up for our people, especially during times of difficulty. But Honorable Speaker, as a committee, we're also frustrated because we send all these questions to National Treasury, which, you remember, Honorable Speaker, you even ordered that summons be issued for the CS for National Treasury. But he has been traveling out of the country. I think he has been representing His Excellency the President in some fora outside the country. So we haven't been able, for example, this feedback for Honorable Abdul Samad does not need the CS. We just needed to know exactly what is happening on this matter. Treasury has simply not sent back that feedback. So we are also equally frustrated, because this matter was raised by Honorable Abdul Samad, even with me, at a private level, and I have been following up almost every single day with my secretariat to call the Treasury. The Treasury is called. Apparently right now the response is lying on somebody's desk who hasn't signed it. So Honorable Speaker, at this juncture, we are not sure what more to do, because even summons have been issued. So Honorable Speaker, it's That's where we are as a committee at the moment on this matter. We have been told, the last we heard about it yesterday is that the report has been done. It is on somebody's desk who hasn't signed it in order to have it brought to the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I don't know, I cannot give a commitment to Honorable Abdulsamad, unfortunately, because that commitment might amount to naught. But I think hopefully, if the House closes today, we will obtain the response while committees are still sitting, and invite, for the time period that committees will still be sitting, and invite Honorable Abdulsamad together with Treasury within that period that committees will still be sitting, as will be guided by yourself, so that this response can be given before the House goes on full recess. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Kabinga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, as Honorable Wanga has stated, we have been trying to address our issue that is on the 247 employees who are laid down. And a week ago, Honorable Member from Vita raised the same issue, and we raised it again with Treasury. We don't understand why such a simple matter is taking that long, Honorable Speaker, and I want to really congratulate the Honorable Member from Vita, because he has been very, very, very consistent in following up this matter. We have had petitions and statements and questions where members sometimes forget them and we kind of sit on them. But on this one, he has been very, very, very consistent, Honorable Speaker. And I think it's a high time you probably give a ruling and also allow us within the period that we are in recess to have probably a joint sitting with the Finance Committee and the Minister, so that these two issues can be dispensed of at the same time, Honorable Speaker. We beg for your indulgence on this.
Unless you do it in the course of next week. Unless you do it in the course of next week. You know, Honorable Abdulsamad, you can't make this a debate. You know? No. It really is not going to be the debate. You must look for where you are not able to get response. If as Honorable Wanga saying the CS is out of the country, there's a PS in that ministry. And you know, it speaks volumes that even notwithstanding the fact that we as Parliament notifying Treasury that next financial year usually is a general election year, and that we needed to get the budget policy statement in good time. They just brought it the other day, yesterday, I think, yesterday or day before. It just speaks volumes about the caliber of the fellows who are there. I think either they have gone to bed or they need some jolting. But we can only deal with them when we are sitting in plenary. So no, we cannot have a special sitting. No, please. This is not. Let's go to. We need to go to do business. No, there's the member for Kamukonji and an issue. He had seen me about an issue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also have an issue. I had requested a statement from the chair of the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security on the frequent fires in my neighborhood of Kikomba Market. And we have now reached the end of this particular session. I had asked that statement on the 21st of October, and since then we have had 3 more fires and absolutely no response from the ministry. I must say that I'm concerned with this extraordinary lack of response, which gives me, does it mean that the ministry does not give a damn about the plight of the people of Kikomba, many of them who have lost their livelihoods, many of them who have been turned into destitutes? And there is no really visible action or firm action on the part of the government to kind of reinforce security and to protect the properties and the goods of those particular communities that are affected by these fires. So I just wanted to know your guidance and what we need to do about that, because this is absolutely not acceptable, and
it's quite frustrating, and I will not get tired of raising their voices here and bringing their cases in this August House. And I'll be grateful, Mr. Speaker, if you would give us some guidance on that. The second one is that I had also raised a similar problem with another neighborhood of mine, Kenyago Kanuku, in my constituency. These are elderly members of my community who have been seeking title deeds from the government since 2018. They have paid their dues. They have been waiting. There has been no response. And I had asked that question on their behalf again last month to the Ministry of Lands. And I have had no reply, not even an acknowledgement. So again, I'm seeking your assistance in making sure that this issue is raised, and that these two important government departments take these issues very seriously and respond to the demands and the cries of the citizens of Kikomba and Kenyago and Kanuku in my constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, with one at least the chair of the committee is here, Honorable Mwadhi. You can respond to that issue.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I appreciate the weight on the matter that is brought about regarding the frequent fires in Gikomba Market. And immediately that matter was transmitted to the ministry. Honorable Speaker, as you'll notice, and you were here yesterday and today, I've really tried frantically to make sure that I have brought as many statements and answers to questions as possible, except that I did not get the answer or the statement response in regard to his matter. This morning, so you will notice, is that I got 5 statements, and which I have read today in the morning. I did 2, this afternoon 3, but even as at 2 p.m. I was still looking for the remainder of balance of those statements, but they were not forthcoming. So I think I did my best, Honorable Speaker, and that is as much as I can respond. The bulk of the work was supposed to be done by the ministry as a CS, and mine is to transmit and deliver them to this House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Well, you see, unless now if the House was sitting, then you can say that you get a response next week. But now there is no, the House will not itself be sitting. So, Honorable Yusuf, you may have just to wait, or use other avenues that, as a long-serving member of Parliament, you know how best to deal with such situations. Honorable Yusuf. The other one, because the chair of Lands Committee is not here now even to respond. The chair left, so we cannot. That can be communicated through the office of Leader of Majority to follow up. Indeed, even that one, I think the Leader of Majority will help you follow up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just shuddered to think about what could happen if there is another fire while we're still waiting for the response from the government department, responsible government department. Because
I think the response would be to go to the fire brigade, isn't it?
No, but there is a necessity to protect the properties and the goods of the people of Kikomba. They are citizens of Kenya, and they're taxpayers, and the government, at least, even if there isn't an immediate reply, is to show up security so that people can see that there is a concern from their elected government, that there is a concern about their plight. And also they have made a lot of losses. There is absolutely no attempt to compensate or support these struggling communities, given the fact that Kikomba is not just a market. This is a massive area that provides employment and livelihood to thousands of people.
Honorable Yusuf, yeah, I mean, now you're asking me what to do if there's fire. Now, I have never even trained in handling fire myself at all. Never even desired to, because I don't like fires. So I would be in similar difficulties as yourself. But I think let's just follow up with the relevant people through the office of leader of majority, because the House will be on recess. There was another one. Honorable Sankoko, you also have a statement. Which one?
Honorable Speaker, I had asked the Interior Minister to give me the LR number or the title deed number of the land he claimed that is owned by the Deputy President, 15,000 acres in Laikipia. And you gave directive that I should be answered on Thursday. The same Thursday, they came here, but they did not have an answer. Now 3 times, they have called me all the way from Narok, and they have refused to give me any answer. So, Honorable Speaker, I urge you, being the third in command, just declare His Excellency William Ruto that he is innocent of all the accusations that they have been being accused and labeled upon. Because if they cannot give, and they had actually, the CES on the Hansard claimed that there is that 15,000 acres, and also William Ruto through the media claimed that he does not have 15,000 acres of land in Laikipia. And if it is there, let them distribute to the landless of Laikipia. Now, when I ask that question so that we know where the truth lies, then the CS is playing monkey games. He have refused to come and answer. And even you gave directive. I think he does not know that you are the third in command. You can give even more severe directive that I should be answered. And now that we are going on recess, I cannot go. In fact, God will not forgive me if I go knowing very well that my question have not been answered. The people like Kipia are waiting to be given land that the DP have already given them. That is 15,000 acres. 1,000 of those quarters are waiting. And again, no. Here he is not. They are not answering my question. So please let them answer my question, or you use your powers and declare that William Ruto is very innocent from not only this accusation that they have accused falsely, but also of other accusations that they have been labeling against him.
Did you say it was said on Hansard? Did you say it was said on Hansard?
Hansard.
It was said on Hansard.
Yes, that is the minister, C.S. Matiang'i himself, came in front of a committee and claimed that the 15,000 acres is owned by Deputy President in Laikipia, when there was a lot of skirmishes in Laikipia. That is false accusation, because he have not been able to table, because I have asked the same question. And you know, we can excuse.
Maybe the Honorable Mwadi can respond to that one. If it was on Hansard, this
Honorable Speaker, when the Honorable David Sankok, MP, came to this chamber, because he was seated here, a response was supposed to have been given by the CS, but you had instructed that the CS does it. But who came? The person who came was the CS, and the CS said he was not under any instruction to answer that question, but that was going to be answered by the CS himself. Subsequently, Honorable Speaker, you've not been able to interact with the CS to be able to pursue that matter. But they said the answer was to be brought as per your direction by the CS himself. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sankok, I think you will pursue it with Honorable Mwadi. If it's on Hansard, it can be. Yes, Honorable Mwadi, you want to say?
Honorable Speaker, I'm aware that we shall interact with the CS tomorrow, and I know we are going on recess today, and I can give him, if it's written, I promise and undertake to give him, to be going through it even as we are in recess. But I know they were very committed to bring that answer.
Sure. Very well. So you'll get. You say you are very sure you are going to interact with the CS. Is it as committee or as Honorable Mwadi?
Honorable Speaker.
You could be interacting somewhere else.
No. I want to make it very clear that occasionally when there are issues, including the balance of questions that we are not able to get, I directly have to get to him so that I'm able to articulate the issues that members bring. And as the chair of the committee, with the authority of the members, they allow me that if I get those, then I can transmit to the members.
Then include the one by the Honorable Yusuf.
Yes, all of them actually, the pending ones.
Yes, all those ones which have been raised, I think it's good that you get...
It's my desire, Honorable Speaker, that we have the output that befits the committee. It's only sometimes we get let down by the department.
Correct.
Thank you.
Honorable Ishungwa, what you appear to be itching to say something.
Yes, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for indulgence.
And today you unusually came after 4.
Yes, Honorable Speaker. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I had a sitting with my border chairman and their secretaries in the constituency. That's why I'm late, and I profusely apologize. But Honorable Speaker, thank you for indulgence. Sitting here and listening to all the issues that have been raised, Honorable Speaker, you must agree with me that there seems to be a problem. If you listen to the issue that Honorable Abdul Samad raised, and the Chair of Finance was at pains to enumerate the kind of struggle she has had to go through, it's indeed clear that there is a problem. And you know, Chair, Honorable Speaker, I sit in the Committee of Members' Welfare, a committee whose one of its cardinal responsibilities is to promote and entrench parliamentary democracy. And I see a danger, Honorable Speaker, in our parliamentary democracy being in grave danger from the executive, Honorable Speaker. If you listen to the issues that Honorable Abdul Samad raised, indeed, I remember speaking to that issue when he raised it on the floor, and it is a matter that affects the people that we represent in this House, Honorable Speaker. The Chair, Finance, Honorable Wanga, you've clearly heard what she has said, the struggle she has had with the Minister in charge of the National Treasury particularly. Honorable Speaker, we went to great lengths in this House in the course of this session to debate, taking a lot of taxpayers' time and money to debate the motion on fuel prices. And I'm aware the Chair has tabled her report today only after interacting with the Ministry yesterday. I am rather concerned, Honorable Speaker, that particularly the Ministry of Finance or the National Treasury is indeed taking this House for granted. And it's not just the question by Abdul Samad, the issues that had been raised on by Honorable Duale, the issues that we have had to deal with, like the issue of petroleum prices, Honorable Speaker. You have just stated, Honorable Speaker, from where you sit, on the issue of the budget policy statement, a matter that is of serious concern to Kenyans, that if we are going into an election year, Honorable Speaker, and you know, maybe at most you come back maybe a week or two before our scheduled mid-February resumption dates, we may not have time as a House to clearly interrogate the BPS as it ought to be. And I find it deliberate, and that's why I'm seeing a danger to our parliamentary democracy, Honorable Speaker. If we will be coming back in January to look at BPS, possibly look at a supplementary budget, Honorable Speaker. And I'm aware from other quarters, Honorable Speaker, that there are indications that they may even want to recall us from the recess to come and probably look at some of these issues like a supplementary budget. And it is within their right, Honorable Speaker. But we must be firm as a House that if that CS is to table a supplementary budget before this House should be firm not to consider such a supplementary budget until some of the issues that we have addressed in this House, like the issue Abdul Samad is raising, that touches on the people that we represent, Honorable Speaker. People out here are suffering, being forced to get goods. You can imagine you operate from Mariakani or Changamwe, and you are forced to come for your goods from Nairobi and transport them back by road to Mombasa. And those are some of the issues the member for Mvita had raised. The issue on petroleum, Honorable Speaker, is a matter that this House took its time because it affected not just the livelihoods, but even the cost of living of the people that have sent us here. We are going into an election next year, Honorable Speaker. If the people see us not representing them and acting in their interest, Honorable Speaker, they will punish us next year. And before they punish us, then I want to implore on the House, Honorable Speaker, that indeed we punish this particular cabinet secretary to stop taking the House for granted. And I dare say, Honorable Speaker, I want to encourage the House, if there is a supplementary budget that is being brought in the course of the recess, Honorable Speaker, if the issues that have been raised by members here, the issue by Abdul Samad, the issue by Honorable Duale, the issue of the petroleum business that we are to do, and I'm happy that we have had procedural motions that allow us to consider some of these things and go to committee in the course of the recess, Honorable Speaker. But if there is priority business, I was reading the order paper in this morning, I was asking myself, if there is priority business that this House should have prioritized, was that bill on fuel prices by the committee led by Honorable Gladys Wanga. But if you have a cabinet secretary and a national treasury that is taking the House for granted, Honorable Speaker, we must have recourse. Otherwise, if the chair sits here and laments, the speaker is lamenting that the BPS was only brought the other day. I mean, what are the Kenyan people bound to do? We are only at the danger, Honorable Speaker, and that's the point I wanted to raise, just to raise our consciousness that we are at a danger of our parliamentary democracy being threatened by an overbearing executive that seems now to be very keen to capturing even the legislature, Honorable Speaker. And we must stand up as a House to protect our parliamentary democracy as the people's representatives. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Committees are at liberty to propose any of the sanctions that are available. So that, I mean, I've said this time without number, committees should not feel frustrated. You are at liberty to propose sanctions. The law is there. You have everything in your hands. So it's only you. You know, if you don't want to apply those sanctions, then of course, you know, I wish you well. So, did I see there's a request from Honorable Shinali?
Leader of Majority Emeritus, I have been with you here since morning. Yeah, today, even when you are seconding Leader of Majority. Honorable Speaker, I wish to make a statement. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, the 2022 budget policy statement submitted and tabled Wednesday, 1st December 2021. Mr. Speaker, this is a statutory document with strict timelines as provided under Section 25 of Public Finance Management Act and National Assembly Standing Order 232. Section 25 of the PFM Act 2012 provides that Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury to submit the PPS by the 15th of February each year. Thereafter, Parliament shall not, later than 14 days after the PPS is submitted, table and discuss a report containing its recommendation and pass as a resolution to adopt it with or without amendments. Mr. Speaker, in view of the revised budget calendar to accommodate the general election scheduled for August 2022, the 2022 PPS was submitted to Parliament by 30th November 2021. The Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury and Planning shall take into account resolution passed by Parliament in finalizing the budget for the financial year 2022-23 and the medium term. Mr. Speaker, noting the PPS forms the basis for preparation 2022-23 annual estimates, which are expected to be brought early February next year, it is imperative to process the 2022 PPS before end of this year. In regard, I would request your intelligence as well as that of the House so that I table a calendar of timelines in processing 2022 PPS and request the relevant departmental committees to adhere to the set timelines. In addition, Mr. Speaker, I will be liaising with the House leadership and your House to agree on it. I hope the House will consider our request and approve. I'm the Vice Chair.
Which is that you are saying you'll be tabling a calendar?
Yes, it's one I want to table, Mr. Speaker.
Calendar?
Timelines. Yeah.
You can go through them.
But we don't know, Yeah, read out what is proposed, because you see, the House is, as per the resolution of 10th February this year, scheduled to go on recess this evening.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I just tabled for you to go through whether it's agreeable, Mr. Speaker.
You can highlight it.
We could have read out so that we hear what it is.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to read. Let me read them out, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, submission of the 2022 budget policy statement PPS to Parliament, that is on 1st December 2021, which was done. Mr. Speaker, public participation of the 2022 PPS pursuant to Article 118(1)(b) and 201(a) of the Constitution, that is on 6th to 10th December 2021. 3, Mr. Speaker, briefing and consideration of the PPS by relevant committees, that is 8th December 2021. Presentation of unpacking of the PPS to Budget and Appropriation Committee, that is 14th December 2021. Receiving submission from departmental committees of the National Assembly, 16th to 17th of December 2021. Meeting with the Parliamentary Service Commission, the Auditor General and the National Treasury to discuss the proposed ceilings, 18th December 2021. And Budget and Appropriation, considering the draft report on the 2022 PPS, 20th December 2021. Special sitting day to approve the Budget and Appropriation Committee report, 21st or 22nd December 2021.
I'll tell you this for free, that the calendar of this House can only be authored by the House resolution. The Treasury of the Republic of Kenya has no authority to come and propose those kind of things. No, I mean, it's not possible. It's not possible. It is not. People cannot sit on their job and then want to hold Parliament at ransom. It is wrong. They were warned long ago that the House was due to go to recess on 2nd of December. And then the BPS is tabled here on 1st of December, and then somebody starts proposing that 8th, I don't know, 6th, I don't know. I mean, I had not even seen that, Mr. There's no question. I mean, there's not.
No, but Mr. Speaker, I think we members, even chairs and members, we must protect the independence and the integrity of this House. Mr. Speaker, this afternoon, among the many communications that you issued, was that committee sittings will end on the 13th of December.
Yeah.
And they will resume sometime in January. Mr. Speaker, this is why sometimes we are accused of executive capture of the legislature. I mean, a member of Parliament, a vice chair of a committee of budget, cannot come, Mr. Speaker, and Honorable Shinyali is a second timer. he participated in the approval of calendars. I mean, today, after the Speaker has read a communication, without a motion, he wants to have this House to deliberate on behalf of one Ukur Yatani until 25th of December. The Speaker, that is an abuse of parliamentary privileges. In fact, this member should be cited for contempt. But the Speaker, I think he's a good man. He's a good friend of mine. Maybe the budget office, and I have a feeling the budget office maybe prepared this. And if they're listening to me, if I'm listening, they're listening to me. Honorable Mrs. Macau and the team she works with are the best, one of the best departments. I don't want them to mislead members. You know, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Shinali walked in, he saw you a number of times, he had a paper. I was wondering, this is a very good, decent man. Why is he being harassed? Little did I know that he had a document, but I think, Mr. Speaker, if he was here, I think earlier, he was not here earlier when you were reading many communications. The House is going on recess this evening, for record. The Speaker has made a communication. The last committee sitting is on 13th. And it's not only for members. Even our staff must go on holiday. So Yatani can look for another parliament, whether it is the Parliament of Somalia or the Parliament of Djibouti, and he can go and discuss those things. We will only deal with this matter when we come back on 24th.
Yeah, I mean, we Honorable Shinali, we will treat that one. We treat that one as if it never happened. Just because it is not possible. We've already, and we passed the calendar on 10th of February. So Honorable Shinali, whoever gave you the paper is the one who is trying to mislead you. They just accosted you on the gangways and gave you a paper from budget office. I'll tell you this for free. If the House is so minded, it can make any resolution, including resolving to sit. But that is only the House, but not somebody coming to propose some calendar here. Because the reason why Parliament has been in constant touch with the National Treasury about this issue of the BPS, it was because we did not want them to interfere with the calendar of the House, which we gave them. And now, sorry, it is never done that way. Even it is never done that way. So just take it back to them. They say RTS, return to sender. We treat it as if it never happened. Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It's closing day, so there are light moments like this are expected. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44-2A, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, the 30th of November, to prioritize the business for consideration. Honorable Speaker, I wish to take this opportunity to thank you, honorable members of this House, as well as your staff, for the sacrifice, active participation, and overall contribution to the improvement of our lawmaking at every stage of the process, representation of our people, and critically exercising our crucial oversight role. I also commend the committee chairpersons for their diligence in leading the committees in concluding a lot of pending business before them. And in retrospect, I believe it has been a wonderful session in which we have achieved a lot, dared greatly, known great enthusiasm and great devotion. I think this is the first session ever in the history of this Parliament that we've had to work into the night. And it's all thanks to the members for devoting that time. They have also been a key number of key developments, one of which was our attempt at effecting constitutional change. And we all know that we actually surpassed a threshold we have tried over the last 10 years and never achieved. Now, we did our part, and we all know how that one went, and we leave it at that. Now, what more can we aspire to? And I think we deserve to pat ourselves on the back and be proud of the legislative year that has been. Honourable Speaker, as we recollect and appreciate what has been achieved, I wish to point out that the mission of the 12th Parliament is not over yet. We still have a significant number of good legislative proposals, bills, and other statutory instruments that most certainly need our keen attention, including the 25 bills that we have just saved to process between end of January and April. Unfortunately, time and tide waits for no man, and therefore, to complete our mission, before we head to the electioneering period, we need the collective effort of every member and every committee. Honourable Speaker, I'm reliably informed there are no questions scheduled to be responded to by Cabinet Secretaries. Obviously, as communicated by yourself, the committees will not be meeting. And in fact, this gives committees the ample time to take this time to expedite their pending business before they also break for the long recess. Honourable Speaker, as we proceed for the long recess later today, it is important to note that in case of any urgent business that requires the attention of this House, members may be recalled for a special sitting pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 29. And this special business may well include the passage of the constitutional names that members have been processing, plus anything else that between the Speaker's office and the Leader of Minority we will consider important enough to recall you so that we can process during the break. On behalf of the House Business Committee, and indeed the people of Kibiperi who give me the time to sit here with you every day, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a happy festive season as you interact with your families, constituents, and other Kenyans. And I look forward to seeing you all as we come back in good health so that we can together face the electorate and hopefully have a bigger turnaround threshold than the traditional one. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House.
Order number 16, Committee of the Whole House.
All right.
Okay. Order members. Order members, we are now getting to the Committee of the Whole on the Industrial Research and Development Institute Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2021. Clause 3. Clause 3, honorable members, I propose a question that Clause 3 be part of the bill. We have an amendment by the honorable chairperson. Who is the honorable chairperson? Who is the chair? Vice chair. Oh, you are the vice chair for the chair. Please, proceed.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 3 of the bill be amended as it appears in today's order paper. The justification is that the Clause 3, sorry. The justification for this amendment is that it seeks to establish and outline the purpose of the bill, which is the establishment of the KLD and giving it a mandate.
Honorable members, I propose a question that Clause 3 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that Clause 3 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that Clause 3 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clause 4. I propose a question that Clause 4 be part of the bill. We don't have an amendment to it. I therefore put the question that Clause 4 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clause 5. I propose a question that Clause 5 be part of the bill. We have an amendment by the honorable chairperson. Please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I beg to move that Clause 5 of the bill be amended as it appears in today's order paper. The reason is we want to include building materials as part of the research that the Institute will be undertaking. I thank you, Mr.
Honorable members, I propose a question that Clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. I put the question that Clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? All the members, even the Chair. All the members. All the members, at the very least, the Honorable Chair should be able to vote on her amendment. I'll carry that again. Honorable members, I now put the question that Clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that Clause 5 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clauses 6 and 7. I propose a question that Clauses 6 and 7 be part of the bill. We have no amendment to those clauses. I therefore put the question that Clauses 6 and 7 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Clause 8. I propose a question that Clause 8 be part of the bill. We have an amendment. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. I beg to move that Clause 8 of the bill be amended as it appears in today's order paper. The import of this is to increase government representation in the board, particularly the Office of the Attorney General, so that they can be preferring and offering legal advice. Thank you.
Very well. Honorable members, I propose the question that Clause 8 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. I now put the question that Clause 8 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 8, as amended, be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I propose the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. We have no amendment to it. I therefore put the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I propose the question that clause 10 be part of the bill. Honorable Chair, clause 10, you have an amendment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a proposed amendment, and I beg to move that clause 10 of the bill be amended as it appears in today's order paper. And the reason is that we want to align the functions of the board with the Mwongozo. Thank you. Mwongozo code, which obviously guides the operations of boards in state corporations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. Yes, Honorable TJ Kajwang.
Mr. Chair, I must confess that I wasn't putting my head to this, but when I had certain things being mentioned and I happen to be an authority in them, and you know, the gracious lady who is moving these amendments is a person who I hold in very high esteem. But, Mr. Chair, the word Mwongozo has never been defined in law. It has never been defined in law. And so when there are references to it, and to give it some type of activity is in contrast to written law. So would the chair explain how the term Mwongozo would be in tandem with the rest of the books of law?
Honorable Chair, do you want to take a stab? By majority, you speak to it. But Honorable TJ Kajwang says he's an expert in this. Is it on Mwongozo or on law generally?
On delegated legislation and regulatory making.
Very good.
Yeah.
I am reliably informed you have written a lot. You have written. Anyway, Honorable Majority Leader, then Honorable Chair.
Yeah, Honorable Chair. I'm not sure whether Honorable Kajwang, I think he was a member in the 11th Parliament as well. The Mwongozo Code was actually tabled by my predecessor in this House and became part of the records of this House, and hence the continuous reference to the Mwongozo Code is because it was tabled and accepted as a document of the House, and hence that's why we keep referring to it. But I see what you're saying, and at some point in future we will probably need to codify it within law to give it a reference. But was tabled in this House and became a part of the documentation of this House.
Yes, I'll come to you, Honorable TJ Kajwang, but let's have Honorable Sankok.
Chair, I may not be an expert like TJ Kajwang, whom we popularly refer as CJ Bonoko, although he is sworn in the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, who is now performing all the duties of that office. So, Honorable Speaker, Chair, Honorable Chair, the Mwongozo Code of Conduct, I have been a chair of a state corporation, and we have been using it because it is part of law.
Honorable Sankok, what is Honorable Sankok? What is out of order, Honorable Wanga? Give her the mic.
Honorable Chair.
Yeah, just wait. You need to be on record. Yes.
Honorable Chair, is the member in uniform in order to refer to Honorable the people TJ Kajwang as Bonoko. Bonoko, Honorable Chair, actually means a madman. Is the member in order to refer to a fellow member of this House as a madman? Honorable Chair, for us to listen to the member, he has to withdraw that very, very obnoxious statement against the people's CJ. Chair, I find him out of order.
You can't find him out of order, but I may. But Honorable TJ Kajwang seems not to have an issue with that. But
I'm his advocate.
You are his advocate.
Yes.
Honorable Sankok, let's not get there. Let's not get there. Let's be on focus.
President was being sworn in. Where was he? Was he in that congregation? So you should not take lightly some of these things that we have worked for this country with pain and blood.
Honorable TJ Kajwang, the issue of swearing in makes it even on another tangent. Honorable Sankok, please let us focus.
Yes, in fact, I just said that he swore in the Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Honorable Sankok, focus on the bill. Let's deal with the bill. The others, we can deal with it elsewhere.
But all of them were like Nyasukuta. Is it Nyasukuta or Nyasuna? Okay, Honorable Speaker, the issue of the state cooperation, that is the Mwongozo Code of Conduct. When the council or the board hire the CEO according to 10G, then, because a long time ago we used to hire CEOs from the ministry or is the CS, but when we bring it so that the board, according to Mwongozo Code of Conduct, is the one hiring, then the CEO will be more answerable to the board. But when the chair of the board or the directors of the board are answerable to the CS, and also the CEO is answerable to the CS, there is a lot of clash because it's like two centers of power. So I support this amendment.
Anyway, let's hear Honorable TJ Kajwang, then we make progress on this.
Mr. Chair, I asked this to the chair, and the leader of majority rose to explain, but I don't know whether he got the substance. I think he did. That look, Mwongozo Code was brought to this house as a policy paper, and as a policy paper, which therefore was the basis upon which legislation was made. But the word Mwongozo itself must be defined by statute law, so that when you are referring to it in this legislation that we are talking about, you know exactly with certainty what you are talking about. And so it is just a simple thing. It does not even require debate. I do not know why a clear issue such as this should lead us to a debate. The chair should just come to section 2 of his bill, of her bill, and attempt to define. After we have run through the clauses, we will come back to definition section, which is section 2. And in that section, she should define with clarity what Mwongozo literally means. Then anybody reading that legislation will know what this thing is all about. It is all of us who are legislation practitioners will understand that is a common sense in my view. Thank you.
Very well, Honorable Chair, I'm sure has taken note, but also you define what is in the bill in the first place. So she has to check whether there is actually a reference to Mwongozo, or she was just speaking and introduced the word Mwongozo in her speaking. But if it is in the bill, maybe you may want to consider that. But anyway, that is up to you with the advice from TJ Kajwang. Honorable members, let's make progress on that. I think I had proposed. I now put the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. With as many as are of that opinion say aye. With as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 10 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I propose the question that clause 11 be part of the bill. We have no amendment to that. I therefore put the question that clause 11 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Order. 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 At the very least, I said the Honorable Chair should be able to vote. At the very least.
Yes.
How? I'll carry that again, Honorable members. I now put the question that clause 11 be part of the bill? Will as many as are of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
Okay.
I propose a question that clause 12 be part of the bill. We have an amendment. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just also because of clause 10, when I alluded to Mwongozo, it's just like we do benchmarking in other countries. It was just to explain. It was not part of the bill.
Okay.
It was just an explanation.
Yes.
Now moving to clause 12, I beg to move that clause 12 of the bill be amended as it appears in the order paper. And that justification is that a lot of the times we appoint a full board and then we retire them all together. Then we lose the memory of the boards. So we are saying we stagger appointments, we stagger retirements, so that the board memory there is continuous board memory. Thank you. Institutional memory, but also the board memory, because it's good practice. It's good practice.
Anyway, Honorable Chair, don't cross-engage the members before I propose a question.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, I propose a question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. I put the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 12 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? The speaker must hear. The speaker must hear. You see, my eyes got straight to the chair again. The speaker must hear. So I'll put that again. I now put the question that clause 12 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I propose a question that clause 13 be part of the bill. Honorable Chair, you still have an amendment?
Mr. Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 13 of the bill be amended as it appears in today's order paper. Again, the justification is that this is about, it's a punitive clause where members who are found to have committed offenses are taken action. And we are saying there is need for a fair and independent investigation before any action is taken upon them. So it's actually a good practice when you're introducing a punitive clause in law. Thank you.
Let me propose Honorable Miri Odhiambo first. I propose a question that clause 13 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair. Honorable Miri.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I can see the intention of the member, but I'm just fearful that the way it's worded, it is subject to abuse. That where any member is suspected to have committed, should it be suspected or is accused? Because accused is of a slightly higher threshold than is suspected. And at what point do you say a person is suspected? When a person dreams, when a person imagines? Because suspecting is a very fluid term. The Chair, perhaps you would want to consider putting a stronger word like is accused, because accused is a legal term. Suspected is a very fluid term. So perhaps the Chair of the committee, because you are the one who can amend at this juncture, and it is your amendment, if you could consider using the word not suspected, where a member is accused of a crime. Because you are setting aside, you are not actually removing. Removal is upon conviction. But suspicion, what is suspicion actually in law? There is no suspicion in law.
Yes, Honorable Chair, I'll give you a chance. And Chair, you still can consult with your team here as we hear from Honorable Member for Seme.
I do not support this basically for the same reason. Accused is too general. It should either be under investigation or on trial for, because those are specific, you know what to do when. But in this case, who is accusing? If a member of one member of the board says he's accused, somebody goes to the press and says we suspect, is that enough reason? So I think we need better terminology, or just drop it all together.
Honorable Sankok, Honorable Chair, just I'll give you.
In fact, it seems Honorable Dr. Nyikala have stolen from my mouth, because Honorable Millie had come up with something very important, that being suspected is too general. But she have come up with accused. But again, you can be accused by your detractors. And a mere accusation cannot make you to be sent to step aside. So I think what we need is a legal term that is already on trial, so that on conviction, then it will be summarily dismissed. But when they are on trial, they can be step aside, so that they cannot interfere with the investigation. But once the investigation have commenced, but not the issue of accused, not the issue of being suspected, not the issue of being looked upon, because will they be using spiritual eyes to know who is suspected and who is not suspected? All of us are suspects.
Okay. What is out of...
KDIC, protecting your deposits.
有一段故事建筑一座城堡。
It's your first time. Hey, I can see what's going on. You lack experience. Why are you dressed like this? You ought to dress more like me. Hey, and what was it?
I'm so glad we went with ping pong.
Lucky. Hey?
Yeah.
有一段故事建筑一座城堡。